Hello and welcome to Exploited Crimes and Technology. My name is Opal Singleton and we come to you every Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock right here on AM 590, The Answer. Busy week this week for lots and lots of reasons. Certainly the stuff that's going on Capitol Hill gets all of our attention, but I live in the area that many of you know as Haywarden Hills. And it's a large area that covers a lot of territory, and there's some wonderful, wonderful people that live here. And as most of you know, this past week, we had a very serious fire that took out several people's homes, caused lots and lots of damage, and it was just downright scary. And I was in that area that happened. Certainly don't own one of those big fancy houses you saw on TV, but am very blessed to live in this area and enjoy the wonderful neighborhood with all the trees and vegetation. But of course, it's been very hot and very dry, and then some idiots are out there with fireworks. And apparently, from what we're hearing, that's how it all started. I want to take a minute first to say thank you to all the people that turned out to help. Outside people outside the community could not get in because they blocked everything off, as they should have. And it was scary. I don't get scared easy. Well, maybe I do. Who knows? But I don't think I do. But, it was really, really scary to see the flames going up. And we were able to get up and down the street with a golf cart because they wouldn't allow cars up and down the street. But what an amazing group of men and women who came out to fight that fire. And fire department, police department, sheriff department, so many fire trucks from out of the area showed up. We couldn't believe it. There were 18 trucks out on our street, and including Morongo and Pachanga and San Manuel and the big tribal groups that have the reservations, and they have their own fire company. They sent their trucks in. People came from all over to fight this thing. And it gave me a chance to talk to a lot of people. And I talked to some of the police department, and we were talking about what I do in the radio and like that. And they go, "Oh, you're the lady on the radio about human trafficking." And I'm like, "Yeah, I am." It seems kind of not so important right this moment when you're seeing people fight for their lives. But it is interesting to see so many people who put their lives on the line for us regular people. And they're just amazing people, and it's scary to watch what is going on. My heart bleeds for those people that lost their homes, just incredibly beautiful homes, their whole life gone up in flames, and it's all changed in a heartbeat. And it's just a devastating thing to see, and so unnecessary if people would just pay attention and not use fireworks when it's this hot and dry. It is just insanity to me. But out of all of that came a whole group of really fine people who came together to help each other, to look out for each other. We had some people in our community that were in a wheelchair and was trying to get out and get their animal out. And, some other people who are severely ill and their families are preparing to evacuate. The other thing that was interesting to me about that was they had us preparing to evacuate. And my husband and I are looking at each other going, "What do we take? What's important to you?" And that is a good question that I would suggest that all of us think about. I'm starting to look at it a little bit different since I only had 5 minutes to start to get it together. And then they never really called for us to leave. But it was very, very close. And it really tells you what is important in your life. And with that, one of the conversations I had with one of the officers that was keeping everybody out of the neighborhood, he was talking about human trafficking here in Riverside. And it's been a little while since I've talked about it. And I thought that it would be a good thing for me to to kind of go back over, because it does happen, and it happens right here in the Inland Empire and throughout all of Southern California. So I'm going to talk about it because there's some bills that are coming up that are very important. I also want to talk about it because we are where we are because some of the bills that have been passed and passed by our previous Attorney General, who is now going to be running for president. And so I want everyone to understand, I'm not here to get political. I'm not here to tell you how to vote. But if you're going to combat things like human trafficking, you need to have an understanding, I believe anyway, it's important to have an understanding of where we are as a society when it comes to protecting the most vulnerable among us. So if you haven't listened to this show before, this show is brought to you by an organization that I began with my pastor way back in 2008. We've actually, it is not a religious organization. It is a 501c3 public benefit organization. But trust me, we all have strong Christian beliefs, or you couldn't survive this kind of work. So Million Kids has served as the training and outreach coordinator for the Riverside County Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force for the past 14 years. And that means that we work heavily with the Riverside County Sheriff Department because they lead that task force. But we also work closely with San Bernardino officials. And in our community, we are very, very blessed to have civic leaders and law enforcement agencies and prosecutors who believe in taking a hard line against things where children are sold for sex, where even vulnerable females are sold for sex. And I'm very proud to work with them. And I want to take the next couple of segments and talk about so you'll understand the impact of human trafficking, how it works, how it happens, and why it is so important when you vote that you know what you're voting for and who is putting these bills together. So we got to where we got because of Proposition 47. 47 was written by the person that's about to run for president. And that bill made it so that people could get out of prison early for what they thought was going to be nonviolent crimes. And the way it was written, it's all about community safety, public safety. Look at the wording on these bills. The bill, SB 357, is a public safety type of bill. It's called the California Safer Streets Act. And what that bill did is it made it so law enforcement cannot intervene if you are loitering to solicit for street prostitution. So I don't see how that makes it a California Safer Streets Act. In fact, it's just the opposite. Well, back to SB 14, they sold it like it was just going to be a candy store. And all these people that were just hooked on a little bit of pot is going to get out of prison and like that. And then came Proposition 57 right after that. And all of these bills made it so that you could earn good behavior and only serve a small portion of your time in prison. That means that people are pouring out of prisons like crazy. At the same time, by the way, we have an open border. And that person who's running for president was in charge of that open border. So in California, you have a coming together of what is sure to be a really not positive thing, a really bad thing, because you're letting people out of prison early. You're doing away with enhanced sentencing. In other words, these 3 strikes laws, and you're making it so that it is very difficult to charge people for the crimes and actually enforce a penalty in a prison where they actually do the time, do the full time, and then rearrange their lives and come back out and hopefully become productive citizens. But all of these factors are contributing to where we are today because we have a lot of people that are getting out of prison early. We have open borders. We also have people that are not having to post any bail. They're arrested and they're let go almost immediately. We're doing away with the hardcore sentencing out there. And we also have done things, and this was all part of your Proposition 4757, of lowering the shoplifting down to, or raising it, excuse me, up to $950 so that people can go in and repeatedly steal what is not theirs and not have to pay a penalty for that. All of that is coming down to the fact there are now new bills that will literally make it so you can sell a minor for sex and it won't be a felony in California. It is break time, so we'll be right back. Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. Hey, let me tell you about my favorite restaurant in Riverside, Monarch Asian Bistro. The atmosphere and decor are simply stunning. The service is great too. It's a wonderful environment for a romantic dinner or a family get-together. It's not just another Chinese restaurant. The Monarch Asian Bistro is upscale and it serves Thai food as well as unique Asian-inspired dishes that are just fabulous. My favorite is the pad see ew beef. My husband likes the orange chicken, and the Chinese chicken salad is always great. Our friends sometimes order the Emperor's Choice or Monarch steak. It is my favorite go-to place. Go ahead and give it a try. It's Monarch Bistro in Riverside, Canyon Crest Town Center next to Ralph's. They are open for lunch and dinner every day but Tuesday. Go ahead, give it a try. You're going to love it.
Real estate sales in the Inland Empire are really hot. Sean and Colleen at Caldwell Banker Armstrong Properties in Riverside are proud to sponsor this show. They are the best in the Inland Empire. They're fair, honest, creative, and they care about you and your situation. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, call Sean and Colleen at 951-529-4066.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of MillionKids.org. I believe the four most powerful words on earth are I believe in you. So we created a challenge coin that says, I believe in you on one side and stand tall, you are loved on the other side. This one-of-a-kind challenge coin is a perfect gift for birthdays, anniversaries, graduation, Christmas presents, or just an anytime gift for someone you love. What a powerful message for a parent or a grandparent to give to a young person. This 2-inch coin is made of polished gold. It's striking to look at, and it is priceless to hold. It is packaged in a beautiful black velvet gift box. What a great way to leave a legacy of love that will last forever. To purchase this coin, go to millionkids.org/gallery. Each coin is $25. Go to millionkids.org/gallery to purchase and give a legacy of love.
AM 590, The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. We are talking about the state of human trafficking in Southern California and some of the bills that go behind it. I'm going to be talking about the kinds of trafficking we have so that you'll understand what's going on. But while I'm at it, I want to talk a little bit about the fact where we're at, because when Proposition 47 and then Proposition 57 that let people out of prison early, it wasn't supposed to include sex offenders. Now, it didn't say one way or the other, but, at the end, Governor Brown, yes, I'm right. Anyway, he said, well, I don't think it will. But, Kamala Harris wrote that bill. And everybody must have known that at some point it was going to include sex offenders. I can't prove that. That's my assumption. That's what it looks like to me. If I'm wrong, I'll apologize. But so far, I've not seen any evidence of that. In fact, to the contrary, what happened is a sex offender sued the state of California saying, wait a minute. They actually sued the CDC for what it's worth. And they said, wait a minute, I'm being discriminated against because everybody else is getting out and I can't. And Justice Sakawe agreed with them. And so they made it so now sex offenders also can get out early. And in some cases, we see this revolving door going on. In each case, this is making our communities less safe. Well, they didn't stop there. Not only are they not imposing bail, not only are they letting people out early, not only, especially in Los Angeles County, they're overlooking the three strikes law, but now what has happened is that Senator Shannon Grove, who I think the absolute world of, she works out of Fresno area, Kern County, and she put up a bill. She originally put up a bill that didn't pass, but she put up SB 1414. And her bill simply stated that even though SB 357 is out here where law enforcement can't intervene in street prostitution, that is an adult bill. It does not apply to minors. Well, she wanted, Senator Shannon Grove, let's make that clear, she wanted it so that it said that if you are selling a minor for sex, that it is a felony. And it is not in the state of California. Well, they all got down to the Public Safety Committee. They started going through the whole thing, and they gutted that bill. And it is going back for a look-see again. It's going to be on August 5th. That they are reconsidering the bill, and there is a massive movement in California to try to get SB 1414 to go through with the original intent. Now, you may wonder what I'm talking about, so let's back up a little bit. SB 1414, in its original intent, said that you cannot sell anyone under the age of 18 for sex in the state of California. And if you do, it will be a felony. When it got into these committees, they gutted that bill and they said, wait a minute, you cannot sell anyone under the age of 16. It will be a felony. But you can sell someone who's 16 or 17, and that'll just be a misdemeanor. Are you serious? I met 16, 17-year-old girls. They are not prepared to make life-changing decisions about whether or not they want to allow themselves to be sold for sex. And these kids get caught up in it and they can't get back out. And if we're a state that cannot declare that selling a 16 or 17-year-old kid for sex is a felony, then we have a serious problem going on in California. I suspect most of us have thought we had anyway. But that really, I mean, at what point do you throw down the gauntlet? You know, they're saying, well, okay, if you're under 16, then we'll make that a felony. But 16 and 17, you're old enough to decide. So how does human trafficking work? And so maybe I need to back up because I live in this world and you don't. People ask, how do you get caught up in trafficking? And what is human trafficking? So I want to spend the rest of these two following segments talking about some of the cases here in Riverside County and how they worked. So in this case, let's say you're an adult, 18 or over, and you decide you want to get into commercial sex. You can do that, and it is not human trafficking if you're an adult. Now, right now, being in prostitution is, in fact, a misdemeanor. It's not a felony by any means, and you can make that decision. But what often happens in this case is people get involved in it. You know, a 14, 15-year-old girl goes online and she meets a gang guy or meets some guy on an Instagram ad, and they fall in love and they get seduced. A long time ago, I wrote a book called Seduce: The Grooming of America's Teenagers. Most of the time, human trafficking in Southern California is not about kidnapping. Now, I will agree that if you get involved in it and you try to get out, they will kidnap you back. Once you're involved, it's very, very hard to get out. However, in the initial stages, it usually starts as a relationship. So what is the difference between making a decision to get into commercial sex and human trafficking? Well, the words are force, fraud, fear, and coercion. So what do I mean by that? So you're 19 years old, you're thinking you're hot, you want to make a little extra money to pay your college bills, and you decide you're going to go somewhere and swing on a pole or advertise yourself out in one of the dating sites or escort services. At that point, you're not a victim of trafficking. But what usually happens is somebody comes along and says, hey, you need to make more money. You can make more money. I will market you. Or you fall in love with someone and they said, help us out here. I just need to pay the rent. Anytime you go from making an independent decision to force, fraud, fear, or coercion, they start holding you against your will. They take photos of you and put you on the sex ads. They will move you from town to town. If you start out in Moreno Valley, you'll most likely go over to Colton and then Ontario, Holt Boulevard and Garden Grove. And you are usually required to make a certain amount of money or you don't get to sleep or eat. They can get quite physically violent with you. They will often change your name, change your identity, and they will blackmail you with many of the photos that they take. Anytime there is force, fraud, fear, or coercion, you have moved from being an independent contractor to becoming a victim of trafficking, and that is the key. And so the challenge is now that we have SB 357, law enforcement's no longer allowed to intervene if you're out on the street soliciting for prostitution. So how do we rescue the people? How do we have a conversation with the people? And by the way, they did that, calling it the California Safer Streets Act. They must have known that the minute that bill went in, that pimps and Chinese cartels and Mexican cartels from all over the nation and gangs started bringing in their girls to make money on the streets of California that they can launder back to their home organization, whether it's in a foreign country or right here in the U.S., to promote gangs and cartels. And that's exactly what is happening. Now, I testified on Capitol Hill not too long ago about SB 1219, which did not pass, but we made a good shot at it. But I quoted the mayor of San Diego, the mayor of National City, the mayors of Oakland. In Oakland, they literally had to close down 2 Catholic schools because they had brought in so many girls by vans from Las Vegas and lined them up in front of the schools that the parents couldn't even reach their minor children, this elementary school, to get them past the girls that are walking up and down the street and barely dressed in high heels at 9 in the morning. And literally would have to call for police escorts to get their children out of that school. These are the kinds of laws that have been floated out there as being okay. How is that ever okay? That you can literally put women from all over the nation out in our community. Anytime that you have prostitution, you usually have gangs, you have pimps, you have drugs, you have needles, you have condoms, and the community is at risk. Down in San Diego, one hotel owner there said, I'm a family hotel, but no family wants to cross over what's happening out there and come in and stay. And they're literally putting businesses out of business because of the solicitation out on the street. How is this okay? We need to think this out before we vote next time, folks. My name is Opal Singleton, and it is break time, so stay with us. We're going to be right back.
Societal Shift, A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses, and their parents are technophobic.
Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the dark net will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift, and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift. Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. My name is Opal Singleton and I'm the president and CEO of an organization called Million Kids, millionkids.org. I hope you'll look us up. Go on, join our newsletter. From time to time, I do solicit for donations. I appreciate it. We're a small organization, but we are mighty. We train law enforcement all over, and we also train a whole lot of other people that are important in this fight. And this is part of our ministry and mission, is to train you so you understand what is going on in this world. I'm not one of these crazies that think that human trafficking is behind every bush. I don't believe that at all. What I will tell you is it's much more prolific today than when I first started fighting it 10, 12, 15 years ago. And that is because of the change of our laws. It is because of open borders. It is because of homelessness. And it's because the technology is changing. With the open border, you have a lot of gangs that have been in trafficking for a long time, but now they have joined forces with outside cartels. And they're using encryption, and they're using all kinds of artificial intelligence and artistic and development, if you will, as they develop all kinds of pornographic films of these people, put them out there so that they're being blackmailed, so that they're altering images and deep fakes. And so this crime has changed a lot. And for us as a society to start loosening our laws at a time like this is just insanity to me. So let me tell you a little bit about the different kinds of trafficking that I personally have seen and worked with here in Riverside County. And one of them is family trafficking. And yes, that happens. Many of our victims were sold by their own parents for commercial sex. And a lot of times that's because the parents are caught up in some sort of drug activity, maybe a single mother, that kind of thing. So don't be surprised that you might have young girls that are being sold by their family for sex. Sometimes they're tricked in this. And I was involved in this particular case of a gentleman by the name of Eliaberto Jacoba. And he was out in Hemet and was putting up fake social media pages to attract our kids into thinking that they want to make money by literally having sex. It's amazing how easy that is to recruit our kids. Pornhub 3 years ago had to literally remove over 9 million videos of our teenagers that decided they wanted to become amateur porn stars. And they took their photos and sent them into them with the belief they were going to make a lot of money. Well, back to the Eliaberto Jacoba case. In his case, he set up social media to look like a female who was making a lot of money in commercial sex. And more than 200 of our teenagers contacted him and said, show me how to do this. Now, they think they're talking to a female. They don't know they're talking to him. And he's saying, hey, it's only sex. You'll make a lot of money. You'll have a good time. Why don't you come out and I'll set you up with one of our best customers and see if you like this. An incredible number of our kids did that. And when he had sex with them, he filmed it and he began to blackmail them. Not one of those kids ever knew they were being filmed until the blackmail began. And he was charged with literally pimping out 7 girls into sex trafficking. These kids are all under the age of 18. Now, yeah, it's their own fault for wanting to, do something risque and make money. I get that. But they are minors. And that needs to be respected. In the end, our prosecutors did one heck of a job. Our sheriff department did one heck of a job in their investigation and gathering up the evidence. And he got 122 years in prison. And he should have. He ruined the lives of many of our young children. So we also have individual pimps, and they can be very, very bad people. Our society makes pimping look like it's some sort of game or very lucrative, and it's just one big rap song. But it is not like that. People who sell other people's body for sex are not good people, okay? It is not as exciting as it appears on television. And this is what happened with the case of Lawrence Gunn out of Moreno Valley. He literally recruited 28 of our girls who are usually under 18 in his case. They were 14 to 18 years old. He beat them up, he burned them, he cut them, he threatened them, he assaulted them, and he took photos of them and he sold them to other pimps across the nation. Now, he did get 30 years in prison, and that wasn't long enough for him, by the way. He was absolutely vicious and very, very a violent person. Now, what happened, you say to yourself, how do these girls get caught up in it? Well, it looks sexy. You meet a guy at a mall, you meet him online, you get this fantasy going. You think you're in a real relationship. He's making you think you're hot. And then in a split second, what your life has changed as you get violated, as you go across a line that you never thought you would ever cross. I listened to a victim one time. She was able to get out of the life. Not all of them are able to get out once they get in. And she said when it first started for her, she really blamed herself that she had made this guy mad. And she said, I will try harder. And then he wanted me to do this. And she said, I'll do this, but I won't do that. And then he wanted that. And she's saying, okay, I'll do this, but I won't do that. And she said, after a year in the life, she realized there was no more that. And that's exactly how it happens. You say to yourself, why don't you get out once you get in? Well, first of all, the thing I'm going to tell you is this organization does everything possible to convince people to never get in and to understand what happens, but also to let them know if you get in, you can get back out. It is never too late to get back out. They will tell you you're so ruined, you're so destroyed that you can't get back out. And they will threaten you and your family, and I get that. But it is never too late to turn around. I know some of the most incredible people in the world that have been involved in that life and got back out, and now they have got their life back on track, and they do what they can to protect others. Another way that kids get caught up in this is by another girl. About 60% of girls who end up in commercial sex are recruited by another girl. The Christine Lister case was the one I was thinking of when I put my show together. And in her case, she was 27. She recruited a girl who was 15 out from San Bernardino. She was from Hemet. And she took this 15-year-old girl and put her out for commercial sex on Holt Boulevard in Ontario. Now, before you think everybody out there is out there because they want to be, you need to think twice. And this is the danger of SB 1414, where they're trying to change the age of the people that are out there to say that it is not going to be a felony. Can you imagine selling a 16-year-old girl for sex many times a night, taking the most severe abuse and being controlled by gangs and pimps and really bad people, and our state is actually pushing back, saying, no, that's okay. If they're 16 and over, it's okay. It is not okay. If you want to support the bill, SB 1414, you have until August 5th to do it. Contact Shannon Grove, that is Senator Shannon Grove out of the middle of the state, and she will tell you how to go about it, how to go about fighting it. Or you can contact us at Opal, OPAL, at millionkids.org. It is not 1 million, it's not 8 million, it's not 10 million, 5 million, it's just millionkids.org, not .com. And you can either write to info or Opal, and I will forward to you groups of people across the state. They have made a Twitter promotion. It's reached over 60 million people. We're doing everything we can to make sure that SB 1414 is restored to its original condition. Imagine thinking that it is okay for a young girl that's 16 years old to go through that life and it is not even a felony. But that's how we got there. It started with Proposition 47, then 57, and then 20, Proposition 20 failed, and then SB 357 passed. And we are just opening the doors in California for criminals and inviting them in for full time, whatever they want, without being charged. You need to think about this before you decide to vote again at the next election, because understanding these bills and knowing what you vote for is worth the effort. My name is Opal Singleton. It is millionkids.org. It's break time. We're going to be right back. Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited, Crimes and Technology. I want to tell you about a book I wrote called Seduced, The Grooming of America's Teenagers. It's all about how predators access, groom, recruit, and exploit our young people using social media, online gaming, video chat rooms. Technology is changing at the speed of light, and we have to understand how to keep our kids safe from predators. So you can get this book by going to www.millionkids.org. It's $16. I'll sign it and I'll ship it to you personally. We hope that you will order this book, educate yourself about how to keep our kids safe in this day of changing technology. Join us each Saturday for our radio show at Exploited, Crimes and Technology at 3 o'clock on AM 590. The Answer.
Custom Service Systems, a proud supporter of Million Kids, is a family-owned and operated commercial cleaning company servicing the Inland Empire and surrounding areas since 1974. CSS takes pride in their ability to maintain the business facilities they serve and their long-lasting relationships with their valued clients. CSS provides a variety of cleaning systems customized to client needs, including deep cleaning and disinfectant to be COVID-19 compliant. From basic office cleaning to windows and floors, CSS will clean up your mess so you don't have to stress. Custom Service Systems cares about families and communities and wants to give back. Custom Service Systems are proud supporters of Million Kids to keep kids safe from predators. If you need the best cleaning services for your business or corporation, contact Custom Service Systems at cssclean.com. Again, cssclean.com, or call 951-781-9345. That's 951-781-9345. You will know you found the best. Custom Service Systems.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. Let me tell you about my friend Doris Anderson at Remax Realty in Upland. She is amazing. She's kind, she's patient, but she listens. And she's informed, and she will help you with your real estate transaction in a way that works for you. Doris, in full disclosure, often supports the work of Million Kids because she cares about young people. But she knows how to analyze a market, how to market a property, and how to find just the right transaction for both buyers and sellers. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate or invest in income property, contact Doris Anderson at Remax Realty 951-733-8899. That's 951-733-8899. 951-733-8899.
AM 590. the answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. We are talking about human trafficking in Southern California and specifically in the Inland Empire. So we have domestic trafficking. That's where our kids fall in love with somebody and they end up being put out for commercial sex. And it just gets horrible. Just gets horrible. It is not like Pretty Woman that you see in the movies. This is really a life-destroying kind of decision. And many of these kids are making it long before they understand what they're getting into and they don't know how to get back out. But we also have foreign national trafficking right here in the Inland Empire. So what do I mean by that? These are people who are coming up from Mexico, from Guatemala, from China, from Taiwan, from Thailand, and they are being brought in here. And in their case, some come without documentation and others come in legally. And especially the Chinese people have figured out how to do this. And my heart bleeds for their victims because they get so very little consideration. But these people often come in legally. They think they're going to go to school. They think they're going to have jobs. They trust the people who bring them in. Unfortunately, those people are organized crime. And they put these people in massage parlors. You see these massage parlors that are out there. They literally are kind of seedy looking. They don't have the normal services. The doors, the entries are on the side or the back. They have mostly a male clientele from noon into late at the night. If you see one of those, contact your local police department and just non-emergency number. Just say, this looks suspicious. Would you investigate it? You can also turn it into code enforcement and they will investigate it. But we don't realize the number of people that are coming in that are being sold in our own community. Let me give you a couple of cases of this. We had the Paredes case. These were 14-year-old girls brought up from Mexico, recruited by a female, the matriarch of the family, and they were put out in massage parlors all from Ventura out to Palm Springs. And they're literally using these girls. These girls think they're going to come in like everybody else and go to school and have a life, but they're not doing that. They are being forced. They're being advertised online and forced to have clients, many times a night. And they get none of that money. None. That's why it's trafficking, force, fraud, fear, and coercion. That money is going back to the cartels. And it works the same as if it's drug trafficking or gun traffic, only this time it is human trafficking that is happening. It was so big that they were laundering the money through a little kid's shop out of Colton. Okay. We've had the Jerry Wang case where they were bringing in girls from China and they were being put out all from everywhere from LA all the way out to Palm Springs. This thing was so big, they had 50 different bank accounts in 9 different banks. And they are laundering that money from what is happening, the services those girls are providing. My heart bleeds for those girls because they can't get free. And that is a horrible life that you can't get free and you are being abused. We had another case right over here in Chino Hills, the Sophia Wang case. In her case, Sophia Navas, I said that wrong. Sophia Navas, her and her daughter, they literally had 20,000 sex ads going right out of Chino Hills. They were bringing girls from China and South Korea, moving them all over the U.S. to sell for sex, but heavily also down in the Irvine in a townhome. So before we go any further on this, I'm going to tell you what to look for. I'm going to tell you one more kind, and then I'll tell you what to look for. And that is out in Hemet. We've had a lot of good Chinese people brought in thinking they're going to have a life, and they are put in illegal pot grows. Now, these people are being used for labor trafficking, and they can't get free, and they're not making any of the money. They don't get any of the money they make. Sometimes what happens is people are brought in from south of the border that are being with our open border, and they're held in drop houses right here in our own community, those people are being abused and they can't get free. So I'm going to give you some ideas on what to look for. First of all, if you think you are seeing human trafficking, do not get yourself involved. Okay, that is the first thing. I know they show that in all the movies and all the people do crazy stuff. This is a law enforcement issue. Contact your law enforcement. Probably not a 911, but if you see somebody that's in danger, use 911. But what you'll see, we'll go through them again. Your massage parlors won't look normal. They'll be closed off. They will be odd hours. They have a lot of male clientele. They're coming and going out the back. They just don't look like a legitimate kind of deal. If you have a home in your neighborhood, know everybody on your block. If you have a rental house, know the landlord. Does somebody move in, but it doesn't look normal? They don't have the normal family life. The windows are closed off. They might have the doors and windows screwed tight. It'll probably have an attached garage to it because vans are coming in late at night and early morning, moving people in and out. Do not go down there and get yourself involved, but call law enforcement on a non-emergency number and report that kind of thing. It's very important that you see that. If you see young girls that are being advertised somewhere for sex, or it's looking like sex and they're underage, don't be afraid to ask for help, but don't get yourself involved. These people play for keeps. Anybody who will use and abuse somebody at the way they do that, and they have no conscience about it, will have no problem whatsoever violating an innocent bystander. So be careful how you handle it. Now, I'm going to give you a reporting hotline. This is not 911. If you see somebody in trouble, you always call 911 or call your non-emergency number. But if you see something you want to report, I'm going to give you twice the national hotline on this. It is 1-888-3737-888. I'm going to say it one more time, 1-888-3737-888. That number, you can even report anonymously, and that is the national hotline for online exploitation. If your child is sent a naked photo and they're being blackmailed, I would recommend you call your law enforcement first, but 1-888-3737-888. So I hope this has been helpful. I appreciate, again, the conversation we had with law enforcement this week. I appreciate all of our local people that do everything they can. They put their lives on the line. It doesn't matter if it's Saturday, Sunday, or 3 a.m, and to do what they need to do to take care of us. So we need to support them. We need to recognize them in every way we can. We also need to pay attention how we vote. We need to look at these bills. And if you want to fight SB 1414, again, you can always reach us at info@millionkids.org, and I'll connect you to the team that's doing that, and they'll tell you exactly what to do. But I point this out because it matters who our leaders are. These elections matter because when we start changing laws that say it's okay to sell a kid for sex and it's not a felony, we need to have our heads examined, okay? When it's okay to let sex offenders out of prison early, we need to think that out. When it's okay to not lock people up with a bail and have a program where we have some sort of safety on our streets. We have reached a point in our society that just boggles my mind. I've been fighting this now for 15 years, and I have never seen it worse than it is today. Between the open borders, between the homelessness, between all this technology, and with all of these crazy laws that are being implemented in the state of California, we need to stop and think about our future, the future of our children, and the safety for our families. These laws matter. and getting involved and understanding the issues matter. So my name is Opal Singleton, and this is brought to you by millionkids.org. I really hope that many of you will go online and sign up for our newsletter. If you want to support our work financially, we're in the middle of making videos for kids about sending nudes online. We're in the middle of educating a lot of people about this kind of thing, and we need all the financial resources we can get to make this happen. So if we're we are 501c3, so it is tax deductible. If you're interested, go to millionkids.org and donate. I appreciate each and every one of you that take the time on a Saturday afternoon to listen to a program like this. I know it's much more fun to be out for a run or a walk and enjoying your time, or maybe a swim and having a good time. But I do appreciate you caring, and I do appreciate you following and doing what we need to do to keep our kids safe. Folks, I hope you put your arms around your family this week and let them know how much you love them and how important they are to you. We'll see you next Saturday at 3 o'clock. On AM 590.
This message is all about Million Kids, the organization that helps locate missing kids throughout Southern California and educates to keep kids safe from predators. Million Kids educates school administrators, teachers, parents, and teenagers how predators identify a potential victim and the methods they use to recruit innocent kids. BMW of Riverside is a proud supporter of Million Kids. Visit BMW of Riverside at the Adams Street exit off the 91 freeway or click bmwofriverside.com.